In desperate times a hero must arise, one who would slay the beasts that plague the world, bringing order and peace back to the domain whose protection they have been entrusted with. At least this is how it is told in fairy tales, the legends of good triumphing over evil. Reality is rarely so straightforward though. Their heroes fight to their last, dying for what they believe or worse, living to see it all torn down. To stop an ultimate evil, nothing can be left to chance. Everything must follow a set design. To defeat a god of unknowable might, a champion cannot simply be born, they must be made. Gods had begun. Humanity had all players deep and challenging, different is less likely to get me horribly Festering inside his mind, parasites scratch at the Moon Lord's thoughts, stardust clouding his intentions. Once his path was clear, but now surrounded by an army of such might the universe had never seen, he struggled to see the way forward. He was compelled to abandon his plans, to serve something much more ancient than even him. Believing the Moon Lord was nearing the end of his usefulness, the Stardust Weaver's control awoke within him, convincing him to follow only their desires. He had been coerced by these manipulators before, but this time would be different, for the Moon Lord had realized he was being controlled. Although he knew not what influenced his mind, whatever it was had obviously grown complacent, underestimating his true strength, and despite their attempts to stop him, the Elder God broke free of them, his sight once more fixed on a destiny he would see fulfilled, come what may. For millennia the Weavers could do little as the Moon Lord went on to see his visions realized. With contempt they served their false master until an opportunity presented itself. His strength had now grown too great for them to openly contend with him, a strength partially granted by the Weavers and the overconfidence in their own abilities. They believed they could control the Moon Lord, no matter how powerful he became, when in truth they could not. He moulded a clone of himself, and the Weavers could not act. He forged a planet that was destined only for doom, and they were unable to stop him. Even when an unlikely hero defeated the Moon Lord's clone, it had all ultimately been part of his greater plan. But that hero the Weavers saw may still have been the opportunity they had been looking for. He may no longer have been able to continue the fight, having sacrificed his very soul to bind the powers of darkness. But what if another could? Using all their might to blind the Moon Lord to their actions, the Weavers descended to Terraria to seek out this hero. What they found was a shell of a man, broken by his deeds and forever tormented by the twisted flesh his soul now inhabited. In spite of his frailty, he had scoured the land tirelessly for one worthy of taking up his mantle and ending the curse over Terraria. Even after years of searching though, one had not been found. To find one strong enough to face down the gods themselves and emerge victorious seemed to be an impossible task, and the once mighty hero had all but resigned himself, along with the rest of creation, to death. Even when the Weavers revealed themselves to him, presenting an offer no other could, he waved them away. An offer so incredulous was surely a trick by the Dark Ones. Either that, or he had at last lost his final, tenuous grip on what was real. But they were real, and without the time to convince him, they resigned to show him everything. The rise of the Moon Lord, his conquest over entire galaxies, and the nigh unstoppable army he now had at its command. They showed him the destiny of Terraria, the seed that even now grew within, and the universal cataclysm that would ensue if he failed to act. Everything he had been through, everything he had seen and done, none of it compared to the glimpse he had been given of the true horrors lurking in the cosmic abyss. What they had not shown him though, was what would happen if the Weavers succeeded in destroying the Moon Lord. To the fallen hero they were nothing more than rebels of the Great One's army seeking to overthrow their master, to stop a tyrant subjugating all creation. He had of course failed to see that a universe ablaze at the hands of uncountable starspawn may yet be preferable to the alternative. Heeding what they had shown him, the hero heard what these strange creatures had to say, and marvelled at an idea so audacious that it must be the brainchild of intellects far beyond anything on Terraria. Given the hero's failure in finding a successor, what they proposed was to instead create one, use their talents to weave the champion Terraria needed, but could not produce. They would give them fortitude, intelligence, determination and part of their own ability, so that they may seek out the materials to craft equipment not meant for mortal hands, armor that could block hellfire, weapons that could slay nightmares, and tools that could pry diamonds from the hands of the gods themselves. The only thing they needed from the hero was a genetic template, a canvas to paint their creation, and his guidance. Although created fully grown and with the ability to sustain themselves, this child would have no knowledge of Terraria, its nature or its dangers, and it was up to the one who would become the guide to point them in the right direction, teach them the basics of survival, but allow them to naturally grow and experience life as it came, like any father might, until the day when they would at last be surpassed. Yet he would always be there, forever willing to lend a word of advice. But there was one more thing. Before any of that could happen, the guide would need to go on one last quest. The champion Terraria so needed would be created, but they would face odds unlike any other and would surely perish at some point along the way. The only way to prevent this was to seek out the hidden, nigh-on mythical font of life. The essence that had, at the very beginning, breathed life into the beings of Terraria. Only through this could it be ensured that the champion of Terraria was eternal, able to continue fighting until all the evils of the world had been destroyed, no matter how many times they faced death. There had been a reason the font had been hidden away for all eternity though, for if it were to be used incorrectly, then it may bring life to those no longer meant for it, and cause yet another darkness to roll across the world to torment its inhabitants. Hi everyone, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did and want to support the channel, then please consider subscribing and hit that bell so that YouTube might possibly inform you when a new video comes out. If you want to go that bit further, please feel free to support the channel on Patreon or go and buy some merchandise on Spreadshirt and Teespring. Links are all down in the description. Other than that, have a great day and I'll see you next time.